What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, Season 7, Episode 12. So in this episode, um, so um, So the team tries to use the helicopter to, find, some UAPs that, basically over the triangle, but there's an issue with like how the helicopter is running and like, basically, there's like a safety concern, so they're like, yeah, no. Like it was an actual like safety concern there. And so yeah, like then basically like cuz and the UAP was initially detected, when they were using the drone. So then, they're trying to like, still find stuff in the mesa. Basically, it's the same stuff. I mean, it's it's like it is getting a little repetitive at this point. It's like, okay, we're gonna do either a helicopter, a drone, rockets, whatever, digging stuff. Oh, something went wrong. Like it's getting a little repetitive. But yeah, I mean, still like the actual tests are decent, whatever. But you know, yeah, I mean, I'll finish out this season. Clevatess, season 2, episode 5. So in this episode, Rod and Mikkel are preparing to fight Clint, and so all the students, they're preparing to fight. Zopthir and Gart meet with Clint, who basically doesn't want to be undercover anymore. Now Zopthir is revealed to know about Luna and tells Clint to not forget his role. And Clint wants to lure out Vorden so Alicia can escape. Now, Zapthir doesn't wants to keep deaths at minimum, and yeah, the Dean claims that Clint and Alicia, stole something from the school, and he must get the book from Clint. And the Dean summons Vorden, who gives the students his power, and Ray reveals his own true power, and Andrew's given some task. Now, so Legend teaches the students who are taking part in the fight. They fight Clint, who summons like Shadow Vanguards to fight them. And Alicia's still dealing with the carnivorous plants, but she's able to escape. And but the plants some reason don't attack her. She comes across a snail that turns into a doppelganger of her and tortures her and mocks her like her past as a hero. Now Alicia is able to beat the snail despite being smaller than it. And this doorway appears, and Dora's voice like tempts her into going through it. And she's able to see, but Alicia's able to see through the trick. And since Dean's shown to like having revealed his true form, attacks Alicia, and but Andrew catches Alicia and tries to kill her. And but Alicia, he wants to kill her, but and he like, but to do that he traps her in this plant and then decapitates her. So it's like she's seemingly dead as far as the show's concerned at this point. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. You know, I thought it was good. Obviously, with Alicia's status is being resurrected. Her head being cut off. Probably ain't gonna be much, but we'll see how it goes next episode. But yeah, I thought the fighting was cool. Like basically Clint just not caring anymore, just ready to just wreck everyone. It was like, all right, let's see a Dark Lord really do something. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Thunder 3, episode 5. So in this episode, Segami learns that the group's like a rebellion, and that they had killed an alien. Well, and like and basically the alien's remains are in the lab, but the combat suit is in like I guess the vault with all the weapons. And Segami not wanting to die, doesn't want to get involved, and then he comes across the small three, and who ask him about where his ship's at, and they explain the situation about Funaba. Then they see like this fighter pilot, this fire jet like attacking the alien ship, and the pilot is shown to be a named Yamashina. So basically, he's like soldier. So he came across this girl named Kana at Mixer. They bond over a franchise called Planet Wars. Basically, it's the in-universe version of Star Wars, where it's on something called Disney Plus, and you have like the Mandalorian standing called the Mandarin. I think it was was it the Book of Bobbin Head? I was like, man, they're really trying to not get copyright right here. But and so Kana was pregnant. He proposes to her. Apparently, he had been playing anyway, but her being pregnant kind of quickened that process. And so they get engaged, and but the aliens killed Kana, the unborn baby, and injures Yamashina's parents. And so he gets very suicidal in revenge. So he dies. So Segami gets a call about his father being killed by the aliens, and he takes the small three to the rebellion, and situation explained him, and then they agreed to rebels agreed to look into Funaba. And Sagami sees Ryoka Tashiro, who was in his high school, the it girl, basically, who was guys from other schools would just come to the school briefly just to see her. Like she was the most popular girl at the school, and so yeah, I guess she's part of the resistance, and it seems like she doesn't recognize him. Or if that's the case, guess that'll be revealed. So Segami seems like he's about to join because it looks like the rebels are about to fight the next day. So it's the fight's about to start. So we'll see how Segami does as a rebel, how his martial arts, because apparently he's a black belt in karate, how his martial arts skills will help. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Tomb Raider King, episode 5. So in this episode, um, so the next item in the auction is for this elixir plant. Basically, it can provide a lot of healing, similar to Chinchi Fuad's elixir plant. Basic basic. So in the initial timeline, you know, Juhyun had a he had a relic, but the effects would really injure him. So the elixir plant would heal him. Basically, his boss would Kwon Taejun would use the elixir plant to keep him under his thumb. So yeah, and then So basically, like that leads to so like basically now the what well I guess what the public believe that's there believes at the auction believes about the plant that it helps with potency. That is what it stated, even though I guess few know what it actually is. So let's say looks like there's some that are willing to bid a lot of money on it for the potency reason. But Ju Hyun and Taejun, since they know what it actually is, they do rival bids. Irene helps uses her money to help Ju Hyun get the win the auction. And then for that and whatever other items Ju Hyun's gotten. So the three guys are I guess serving as his lackeys. They try to steal his money, but Ju Hyun uses one of the relics to to get the money back and basically stop them from betraying him. So then later Irene basically there's like some parasitic relic attached to her. So Ju Hyun says he promises to help her out, but it ain't easy to like separate it. But he offers to help her out. And then um Taejun's company TKBM keeps trying to it keeps sending people to get like after Ju Hyun like to get like the elixir plant or immortality grass. And basically so like and at least so using other relics like this zombie gas or whatever. And then yeah, so it sets up you know it sets up like I guess the rivalry between Ju Hyun and Taejun like basically like in how like he's gonna be Taejun's gonna be a major antagonist. Ju Hyun like is like looks like he's gonna have a big target on his back soon. And it's a funny scene at this like at the airport where the Ravens try to talk with like Ju Hyun, and Ju Hyun's the one that can see or hear it, so so the others are confused like what the heck are you doing? But yeah, I thought this was a good episode, like how they're setting up, TKBM is like the this big threat. So yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one.
Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.